Hi guys, I'm Anna.
And I'm Brian.
And we are
Those Annoying
Vegans! As you guys know, we recently watched the US premiere of Dominion at the Animal Rights National Conference a couple weeks ago, and we wanted to bring you our review.
We're not going to get as in-depth as we got with eating animals, and the reason is because A, we would like you to experience this film for yourself, and B, it is available, unlike eating animals. It's readily available. You can rent it or buy it right now at dominionmovement.com. And in fact, this morning we bought it ourselves because we wanted to support the filmmakers.
You might also be able to find local screenings. Just check the website. We are trying to organize one here in LA and hopefully get some of you to come join us for a second time.
And the director, Christelle Force, has encouraged everyone to host a screening. If you have somewhere where you can screen the film, even if it's not in a movie theater, it could be at a restaurant, could be at someone's house.
At your house.
Yeah, anywhere. So you can go to the website, again, dominionmovement.com, and you can learn about how to screen the film yourself.
As we said, the film is directed by Christelle Force. It is narrated by Joaquin Phoenix, Rooney Mara, Kat Von D, Sia, and Chris. It is co-produced by Shaun Monson, who is the director of Earthlings.
Now, the movie touches on many aspects of animal exploitation, not just the animals that we eat, but also the animals that we wear, the environmental impact. It goes into a lot more than just factory farming.
Just like Earthlings, it breaks it up into different species of animals. They cover pigs and cows and fur and fishing. It covers not all, but many species of animals who we exploit.
If you've seen Earthlings, you might have an idea of what you're in store for. A big difference, though, is Earthlings was shot in the 90s, and that was before HD was a thing. And so the footage in Dominion is HD, modern footage. And it's good as vegan activists to have a tool like this at our disposal, because when you show someone Earthlings, not only does it look dated because it's not in the HD resolution, but also people have the excuse of saying, that was old, that's back in the 90s, like we don't do it that way anymore. In fact, Christelle Force said that was a reason why he wanted to make this film, was to show standard industry practice today.
Yeah, because in Australia, people were under the impression, well, it doesn't happen like that here.
Right. Because Earthlings is America. That's over there.
Yeah.
You know, we treat our animals way better.
And as Australia realized, that is not the case. So what can we say about the movie? It is unsurprisingly very, very, very difficult to watch. I think you guys were under that impression, especially after watching the trailer.
Yeah. It's harrowing. It's impactful. It's sad.
It's shocking.
Makes you angry, makes you feel hopeless. It makes you feel like the magnitude of the problem is insurmountable, but it's not.
It's not. So what was watching it like for me personally? I, like many, many other people in the room, did a lot of crying. I never turned away. I mean, James Aspey watched it 10 times. Here's the thing too, I tend to experience emotion very, very strongly, whether it's happy or sad or excited. Brian always makes fun of me because I get really excited about food.
No, I don't make fun of you. I am envious. It seems like your heart is much more open. When I'm with you, I feel like my heart is wrapped in cellophane compared to yours, because
That's not true.
I feel like you experience emotion on a level that is more intense than me. Even though I do experience emotions intensely.
Differently though.
Yeah,
Everybody's different.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw people around me, like people were having different experiences. I discovered something about myself watching the movie. It's sort of a sad admission, as a vegan especially. While I was watching the movie and we got to the part about fish, I actually sort of breathed a sigh of relief. My coping mechanism was to find moments where I could take a break. In retrospect, I was like, well, no. If all those fish in those nets were little pigs, even as vegans, we still feel a little bit distant from fish sometimes. I'm saying we, but maybe it's just me.
No, I think that's true. That's why people go pescatarian, then vegetarian, then vegan, because You relate to pigs and cows the most
Yeah.
because we're both mammals,
Yeah.
and then birds, and then fish.
In reality, fish suffer just the same. At Shaun Monson's lecture at the Animal Rights Conference, we were talking about something like this with insects. And I thought, remember when we watched Honey, I Shrunk the Kids and they befriended Auntie, the ant? And Auntie had a voice. Auntie could scream. And I thought, what if ants can scream? And we just haven't invented a way to be able to hear it. There is always more that we're discovering. And just because we can't hear ants scream doesn't mean they can't. Same with fish. What if our screams, for example, were inaudible to an alien race who just can't hear this frequency?
I had a moment similar to yours as well when it got to the dogs section. And yes, there is a dogs section because people do eat dog. I found that section much more difficult to watch. And I looked inward at myself and said, well, that must be because you care about dogs more than you care about pigs and cows and chickens, which I shouldn't. I shouldn't care more about any animal species, but I am a product of this society where we live with cats and we live with dogs and we live with rabbits, but we don't live generally with cows and chickens and pigs. It's becoming more and more normal for people to live with chickens and pigs.
And someday we hope to as well.
Yes.
That's our ultimate goal.
I think it's human nature to find parts of the movie harder to watch than other parts, or it's at least human nature to try to disconnect so that you can get through it, because it is 2 hours long. I did find myself getting tired from watching a movie. I think it's because it was emotionally draining.
Yeah.
You know, in the same way that when you drive all day long, you're tired at the end of the day. Well, why are you tired? You were just sitting in a chair. Your mind is active and it's burning all that glucose, staying active. And when you watch a film like this, your brain is almost overwhelmed with emotion. I found myself disconnecting emotionally, and I wonder if that was sort of a coping mechanism or something that I was going through, because what started to happen was I started to analyze the slaughterhouse workers in the film and just being stunned and almost in awe of how detached they were. The animals were no longer living beings. The animals were objects, and they were treating them as objects. And it was jarring to watch that. It is amazing at what monsters this industry has turned these human beings into, but you can't be mad at the slaughterhouse workers when all they're doing is fulfilling a demand.
In fact, we had a friend ask a question at the end of the movie.
How did you control your anger every day against these mother... The level of courage you all have to not lose sight of the final objective. I know, I'm sorry.
A lot of these people, they don't want to be doing this. They're not psychopaths. They don't have many options. They're doing the job that consumers don't want to do. They don't want to know about. So they're not necessarily bad people. This whole idea that we have the right to do this to animals, that puts those workers in that horrible situation.
When you see a slaughterhouse worker whistling or yelling profanities or insulting the animals verbally, you have to wonder if that in itself is a coping mechanism for them. If you're silent, if you're just with your thoughts the whole time.
If you're tasked with killing X number of pigs every minute or every hour, how are you supposed to deal with that? And as we always say, we as activists like to speak to the consumer of these products, because if the demand goes away, then the supply will follow. If you just take out the pig or the cow or the chicken and replace it with a puppy or a kitten, and we say puppy or kitten on purpose because these animals are slaughtered when they're very young. You'd be outraged if puppies were being killed when they were 6 months old. But pigs, And we've heard some vegans say that meat eaters know what goes on, they know the horrific conditions of the slaughterhouse, they just don't care. In our experience doing Cubes of Truth and outreach, people don't know. That's why a movie like this is so good, not only for veganism, but for humanity, because it's telling people the truth.
Yeah.
This is how pigs are slaughtered. This is how cows are slaughtered. This is how chickens are slaughtered. In order for you to get that hamburger on your plate, this has to happen. And these are standard practice. These are the most humane ways of slaughtering these animals. It's an experience that everybody should experience. Bring the tissues, bring a friend, bring lots of friends.
It's much easier to bear witness together, I feel. Now, we know what many of you are thinking. You're thinking, I'm already vegan, I don't need to watch it. We would disagree with that. And the reason we say that is because as activists, it is still very important to stay updated and to continue educating ourselves and to bear witness, because that way you can tell people that you saw it with your own eyes.
If you're vegan, then no, you don't need to watch Dominion or Earthlings in order to go vegan, but it helps make you into a better activist. And if you're a better activist, you're going to turn more people vegan. So that will multiply our numbers and bring us to a vegan world even sooner. It's important to bear witness for the same reason that the Save movement tells people to bear witness, to go witness these animals on the slaughter trucks about to be killed. Why? Because it strengthens your resolve as an activist. It makes the problem much more real, makes the problem much more dire.
Urgent.
Yeah, and it inspires something inside of you to do more.
It lights a fire, a new fire. I mean, we left the movie feeling like we needed to do so much more. And in fact, we are.
Yeah.
We have a few things planned.
Trying to arrange another LA screening is one of them.
Yeah.
You know, we want more and more people to see this film. I actually remember when we went to the vigil after the Animal Rights National Conference, we went to Chris Delforce to thank him, and you said, I hope you know how much you're changing the world. To assemble all this footage, and then he had to edit the footage, and then...
Imagine all the people who had to watch this movie repeatedly and edit it. Oh my gosh.
And the simple fact of the matter is that whether you watch the movie or not, this is what's going on. So, as a vegan activist, watch it. Understand the truth of what goes on, so that way when you are at a Cube of Truth, or when you are at a vigil, or when you're just having a conversation with a non-vegan, you have the power and the inspiration and the courage, you know, the transformative effect that bearing witness has. You can say, do you know what goes on in a slaughterhouse? Because I have seen it.
And even vegans, we think we've seen it all, but we haven't. So that said, we strongly, strongly encourage you to watch it, and always, always do what you need to do to take care of yourself emotionally and mentally afterwards. Even Dominion was handing out pamphlets about how to support yourself emotionally after watching this film. Most of that energy that I felt after watching the film went to immediately sitting down at my computer and figuring out what else I could do. That made it worth it. That made it so worth it.
You've reached out to several politicians to ban fur in Los Angeles.
Which apparently was already in motion just as of June. A motion that would ban the sale and manufacture of fur in Los Angeles. Animal Hope and Wellness got the ball rolling on this in the first place, so I started emailing everybody, and I got emails back, very detailed emails as to how I could be more involved. I know that there's a hearing in September and October where I can actually go and speak and voice my concerns. Another thing we're doing is we're actually starting a new chicken vigil here in Los Angeles. It's very close to where we go for the pig vigil.
I reached out to a theater that Anna and I like to attend frequently. We've seen a lot of independent films there, and they have screenings with Q&As, and we're trying to get the ball rolling on another Dominion screening. We're headed to a Cube of Truth tonight. We've been inspired to do more because the situation is dire. It's not going to change unless we make it change. And you're a part of that. Your voice is just as loud as our voice. We're all individuals. Anything you can do to help will help. Please go to the website, dominionmovement.com. Either rent the film or buy the film. Share it with a friend. Share it with your family. Get a screening going in your town. Spread the word. The animals need us.
We need to amplify their voices. We have the power to end their suffering.
And thus,
we have all of it.
A responsibility to do so. That reminds me of a teenage boy who wears a red and blue spandex outfit.
And always remember that you get to go home to a warm meal and a warm bed. Those animals don't. What they're feeling, I would posit, is
infinitely worse than what you will feel watching the film. So those are our thoughts on the film Dominion. Please let us know down in the comments if you've watched the film. What were your thoughts? What were your takeaways? Were you inspired to do more? If so, let us know what that was.
If you guys like this video, please give us a thumbs up. That really helps us out. And if you haven't already, subscribe.
Make sure you slam that notification bell so that you'll be notified every time we put out a new video.
Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and check out our vegan swag on Etsy. And of course, a massive, massive thank you to all our Patreon patrons. You guys help us out. You help us do what we do and film on the weekdays and the weekends and go to Cubes of Truth. And it's what we need to do. So thank you. You make that possible.
And if you like what we do and you would like to support the channel, please do. The Patreon link is in the description below.
Bye. It's funny how people so readily watch horror films and action films and gore, and they like all that stuff when it's fake. But when it's real, when it's the truth, you know, we can't do that anymore. We can't keep the blindfold on.
People will very adamantly watch a movie like What the Health, or everyone's excited to watch The Game Changers, or watch Cowspiracy because it's about the environment. We need to also embrace the documentaries about ethics as much as we embrace the documentaries about health and the environment.
Yeah.
Because it's equally important.
Back in college, I gave myself this sort of rule for life. When something feels hard or when something seems hard, do it. I feel like the rewards are always greater at the end.
Hey, Gracie May. Gracie. Oh, it's your time to be on camera?
It's time for Gracie to... You want to lie down here?